You know, I was telling a story yesterday. I was deep into Texas, into a town that was predominantly Mexican, and there's a lot of Catholicism there, of course. And so I postered the town, and I ran ads in the newspapers, and I took a little crew with me. And so when we got to the meeting place and went in, there was no one in there. At least that's what my crew thought. You have to realize that there's a lot of disembodied beings that are anxious to learn the truth, but their physical bodies in one way or another can't afford them that, or even their emotional bodies. So we are joined this morning with a great amount of souls in here and some spiritual masters. See if you can see them and who they are. You know, this health thing, I was trying to figure out how to bring this higher level of awareness to humans. Because when you go into the front door, I've given thousands and thousands and thousands of dissertations and classes on spirituality. Back in the day, I had so much to say it wasn't even funny. I just don't have a lot to say anymore because it's just, anytime you engage the mind, you've limited yourself. Unless you've learned how to engage the mind and not lose your consciousness or your awareness following that mind. And I've been weaving this all through this week, so you will know and help to open you up and pull you back to consciousness, to awareness. Because it is just like health. It is simplistic. But as duality dictates, it just appears to be complex. But when you realize you are the source, just manifesting in individual form, and when you truly get that, then you will have God consciousness. And the only way to understand that is not through the mind, is through being it. That's how you navigate from consciousness into creation, is you become that which you create. You can see that when you go into a movie house and you're watching a movie that the director was really good. He will make that movie so good that you will forget who you are sitting there in the movie house watching the movie. Yeah. And then, oh, I'm in a movie house. That's how good the movies are. And you're creating your own movie. Not so much consciously, of course. You know, I've always said there's so much you can become aware of and be and do in the God worlds. You can be way showers. You can be the creative dreamer yourself. Think about how you could expand your world. If you could create endless forms and teach those forms to be self-creating, conscious creators, you could create endless universes, endless worlds. And that's what's going on. Each and every one of you, your experience is a feedback to the whole. That's why creation exists. It has really no validity whatsoever other than that, as far as I know. Because it's here today and gone tomorrow. Look how fast this seminar went. And we were just saying, 2 weeks to the class, 1 week to the class. And the next thing you know, class is over. So I want you to try to go back and maintain that consciousness of beingness. Carry that power that you were generating through your hues and stuff with you and touch others with it. Keep it simple. We live in a world of extreme judgment. Man judges so much. It's unbelievable. And you don't want to fall into that. Who cares what the other individual's journey is and what they're doing? You know, you have to realize that one little thin body there called the etheric or the ego. The ego is essential for your individualization. But get that baby going and, you know, it can put you as the king. And each and every one of you is the king and queen. You know, that brings up a point, is that you realize that consciousness is non-gendered, right? Somebody called me a sexist or something way back when. I'm going, what? Man is so sensitive on words, you know, and we each are brought up in different locales and stuff, so we have different way of articulating what we see, you know. But you can't judge. As soon as you judge somebody, somebody's judging you. And you're just living in that. You're just moving and breathing with creation. Anything comes up, you're trying to respond to that from your past experiences, from your awareness. Your response to anything is cause and effect, right? Just like health. And you don't want to constantly be the effect of things. You want to get away from duality and consciousness. Some on this planet think you can in the physical. No. These rooms in the mansion are set. And they're set for a reason. It sends itself through these journeys, awakens itself, expands itself. And each and every one of you are a part of that in both ways, of learning to expand yourself and helping others to expand as well. So you always want to try to be in that eternal moment, because that's when you get those messages. That's when you communicate with the divine more and more and more, because you're becoming the divine. It will guide you to that which you need to do. Why are you here? What's your journey anyway? Then I decided way back when, you can't always open the door front ways. Religion has such a stranglehold on man, it's not even funny. And you see people killing people in the name of that. First it was the Christians, and then it's the Islamic faiths and stuff like this. It's not one particular group, but these are states of consciousness that we're trying to bring up a little bit. But this is the best way for you as light givers or light beings to work with your friends in helping them to expand and become awake. Health is where man's suffering so much that I realized that's the backdoor way to get him to God awareness. Because as soon as you go on a raw food diet, you start expanding. It's an energetic experience. And remember, energy is consciousness. So the more that you can channel, or the more that you can become it, that's awareness. You know, there's a lot said about out-of-body travels. It is a fun thing, no question. There's a point, though, when you're a traveler that you have to realize that the gig is always about the traveler, not the traveling. There's a lot of incredible places to visit in the worlds of God, especially when you're coming out of this and you forgot some of the places you've been. There's some incredible places. We were talking about the mental worlds, and the buildings and structures go up through the clouds. Twitchell talks a lot about that. Sometimes it's helpful to read some of the master's works. like the tiger's fang or the key to secret worlds, learning these worlds so that you'll have some degree of awareness that these worlds exist within you. But if you look at your own individual psychic, you will find all these components to you. You're here talking in an embodied body. Some are not. But you do have a body to be here. And the astral body can be here. Matter of fact, all bodies are simultaneously wrapped around here in actuality. Traveling is an illusion. But it can be fun. Consciousness is intense, extremely intense. So that's why you want to play a little bit. That's why creation exists also, I think, is to play a little bit, because consciousness is intense. There's no positive, there's no negative, there's no male, there's no female. It just is. It's intense awareness, it's intense energy, it's intense, I don't know what all you can say about it. All knowledge, all wisdom, all things exist within that now, within that consciousness. So to experience it, you must drop all things. It's not going to come to you. It already is you. All these people think God is going to come and it's already here. Man chooses not to look and see. It's already wrapped around each and every one of you. And this is why you're opening up. And the fruits and all this helps you to do that, doesn't it? It's incredible. It's hard not to open up on a raw food diet. And you start to see those that thought they weren't spiritual opening themselves up. Because for me, spirituality is just awakening. We can write volumes in intellectualism about the process of awakening. You know, there's the thing called initiations and all kinds of things, depending upon the order from which you are working. Some spiritual giants will use initiations and different, just like being baptized. These are just things that, like baptism, you kind of going through the physical move of that. Not too many people are really into the consciousness of that. Initiations is a whole different story. If you have a spiritual guide, you're going to find, if he doesn't talk to you, you're going to find yourself moving through cycles. And to survive these cycles, you must be willing to let go always the experience that's coming to you. And we've been talking about that this week as an emotional detox. This is an astral detox. You're going to want to let go what you see. Or you're going to keep carrying that around. As long as you carry it around, you will never be free. So you don't want to carry around thoughts and ideas and past experiences and all that. It's already being recorded. And you could visit that in the Akashic Records, causal world. Your orange plane. But that's just your journey in creation. It isn't who you are. The intensity to know who you are will pull you deep into the state of aloneness. Because each and every one of them, as you lose your bodies, you become more the one, not less. And therefore it becomes more intense, more intense, more intense, more nirvanic. It's so intense from this position, from a position of individuality and extreme confinement. And that's how I view the physical body, extreme confinement. But if you forget who you are and all this, then you can have fun in the physical a little bit, but you're still bouncing back between positive and negative. After a while, you don't want that anymore. You want to have more purity and love. Just like you, the demonstration before I got here was incredible. Using words to vibrationally pull you into these different realms are important. Through your daily life, I used to chant the hue to myself all the time. Now you must become the you. You must become meditation. It isn't something you do. It is something you are. All these things are designed to set you free, to open you up, and to expand your ability to express yourself. If you keep on your own journeys, that's fine, but you want, to me, greater journeys. There will always be souls coming to this level. The karma being created at this plane is amazing. And all these individuals will have to keep working this off on some level here in this physical world. And you could spin for quite a while. Quite a while. Some of you already have. Some of the things that we were told was some of the souls here are locked here and we're to help open them up. And you can lock yourselves here for quite a while. That's why you don't want to judge. You want to let go. Who cares? You be the divine, giving wisdom to those that seek it. You're finding you don't need to be the seeker anymore. Move from the seeker to the knower. Because you are the knower. Sometimes you just don't know it. My side of this is always the now. I don't put any attention on traveling anymore because your survival is not the traveler. Your survival is wakening up, being the all of the all. And then you can work in other universes and go places where other areas are stagnant and help to open those areas up. Because the pendulum at this level swings pretty far both sides. And it sends its troops in when it gets to the point of getting too much. It's just how it keeps a saturation or a certain, tries to keep itself within certain boundaries because the negative forces are extremely destructive. As beautiful as you can imagine, which is unreal. When you start looking above, seeing the colors and the dance, I call it, of the divine, it's amazing. But you also have the negative, the dark. I remember that it was Tom Cruise. It was a movie, I can't even remember the name of it, but it had a unicorn in it. And it had the negative being the cow, whatever you want to call the negative force, the channel for that. And the cow the negative force wanted to grab the unicorn because that was life, right? That was the essence. It represented the flow and the current. And he wanted to get this young, beautiful little girl because she was the princess of life. And so he had all the gnomes, all the negative beings grab her and the unicorn and took her away. And then I guess Tom Cruise was like the savior, the young lad that goes forth and saves the kingdom. So he got all the good little fellas and fairies of life to come help him go conquer the evil one. And as he was conquering the evil one, he cast the evil one out into the universe. And as the evil one was moving out into the universe, he said, "Father, you have forsaken me." The negative looks for the succor as well as the positive. The negative feels it's a channel for God as the positive, which it is. You must understand that. You're not here to crush the negative forces. You can't. But they're strong in your lives. And your mind represents that factor. So, just like you don't like a neighbor or you don't like someone that comes up to you the same way. If you open yourself up too much, you do have to be careful. There's a lot of disembodied beings that would love to attach themselves to you, and do. Some of you have walk-ins currently. And they can be very, very subtle. Don't even know you have a hitchhiker. And some of these hitchhikers are non-physical, of course. Man doesn't understand that yet. That there's another war going on here that's not Homo sapien against Homo sapien. Some of you get that. Strength is always your path. Consciousness is always your path. I was dating a girl one time, a lot of depression. And I was sitting one time in a restaurant with some people, and I saw this entity attacking her. The next thing I know, this light came out of my tisratil and attacked the being. I didn't know I had that ability at the time. You have more abilities than you can even imagine. Cool stuff. But you can protect yourself. Knowingness and strength, know, is a good way to do it. You don't allow the negative forces or someone or an entity to bother you. You don't fear. Fear is a doorway into you. You see all these shows where they're looking for all these, going to these haunted places. You see those, I don't know, on some of these cable channels where they have all these, I don't know, they're sci-fi stuff and all of that. It's like, you don't allow that kind of negativity in your beingness. You control that. You stop that. You want to keep yourself pure and open and free. So through your daily lives, watch what you're doing. Be the giver. Shift your perspective from being the effect to the cause. Because that's what you are. And that's what you're learning. It's stripping those things away from you, and that's what you're going to be experiencing, especially under this tutelage. It's going to strip you. Let it strip you. If you've got emotion, let it go. If you've been hurt in the past, let it go. Cause and effect. You're here now, and consciousness cannot be hurt, killed, or destroyed. These things, maybe. But who cares? You're just using this. You're just getting your car in shape so you can drive around a little faster, maybe. Drive a little farther. And it doesn't pull you down in ravishing pain. You've been aligned and taught to align with the negative forces. Now you're opening up and being aligned to the positive forces. And this class particularly is full of a lot of beings that have already succeeded in tapping that. You're just now in your final journey of awakening. Don't do anything to mess that up. Keep yourself free at all times. Keep yourself as the light giver. Work yourself from the top down. Don't see yourself as a struggling Homo sapien looking and wanting God in their lives. You already come from that source. You be that source. Because if you don't, you will always keep yourself in a limited perspective of yourself. When you sit and you're the golden key of it all. That doorway, though, to get there can be a lonely doorway. You can be ripped of mates, loved ones, parents. Your attachments will be your karmic experiences. You have to let go of your attachments. If you don't, they'll strangle you. They'll tie you to this plane or to the astral plane or to the mental worlds. It doesn't matter. Don't take things personally because you're one of endless individual expressions. However, you, the core, It's the same as my core and the same as each and every one of us' core. Just because we're in different forms and have different levels of consciousness to us. That's why you don't want to identify with things like that. Don't identify with yourself as a female. Don't identify yourself as a male. In consciousness, you will start losing that perspective. You're not a gendered being. You're playing gender in creation. And that makes it kind of fun, you know. Sometimes when you get deep into the alone state, you realize how fun it is to have friends, even though you meet everyone in the now. Those that have that will understand what I'm talking about the realization of why creation exists. And it's massive. You're in just one little speck here. This is nothing. This is just a little rock spinning through space, and that's illusionary in itself. That's gone in the blink of an eye. You're never gone in a blink of an eye because you are eternal. You, not the physical body, you. That awareness behind that that's listening to me now. I do like question and answers in spirituality. Because for me, life is simple. You must become that which you want to experience. If you want to experience the all, you must become the all. How the hell do you do that? You don't identify which that is limited. You don't identify with it. You step back and allow things to work. We're too busy creating. Now you've done that. Now you sit back and let the divine hand come in and work it all out for you so you can leave this place free and bring others with you that are ready. Many are not ready. That's okay. Some are just ready to go to the next level, of course. But we have to instill some higher levels to this plane, in my opinion. It's just how I see it, and some of my friends. Use the masters and the spiritual beings to work with you, but never put them between you and God. The old ways of spirituality, in Buddhist and Hinduism, and using a divine being or a master or by guru to be your intermediary between the God state and you. And I always thought, they're only way showers. And that's all they're supposed to be here for. Some masters get themselves in trouble too by that. They're only here to be way showers. I've walked this path. This is what you might happen if you walk down that road. If you fall into a hole, I'll come lift you up. But I'm not going to walk the walk for you. You are the divine yourself. And anyone that thinks you have to use someone else to find yourself is ridiculous. A true master will be only there to assist you and guide you and give you assistance and maybe some information, but you've got to ride this journey. You've already been riding it for so long. You wouldn't even be in this room if you could not accept some of these levels of understanding. God doesn't put itself to that. You'll be out there playing because you're not ready. You're still dancing to the tune of creation, which is okay. But you can dance to the tune of creation and be free while doing it. Any of you ever see The Circle of Iron? I've talked about that movie. It was written by Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee understood, believe it or not, these levels. He wasn't into the higher planes, but he was into the lower planes. And he hired David Carradine, Kung Fu man, to play the master. It was done under the orifice of martial arts, but it was the journey, and you had to combat to see who would win to make the journey, because the journey was a scary journey. Your life, many never made it on this journey. The seeker trying to understand God. So the whole movie was going through these different planes and the experiences they gave him as he fought his way to get the book. The book. So this Chela fought his way up to the God state. And when he got there, he wanted to fight the entity that was responsible for that area. And he says, do we fight now? And he goes, fight? You've made it. Here's the book. So he took him over to the book. And as he opened the book and viewing the pages, a laugh came from him deep within, and a nirvana came to him deep within. And each page was nothing but a mirror. Nothing but a mirror. So he went back, met up with his master, and they both danced in the moonlight to the joy of awakening. And that's the way it is with you guys. You're simply experiencing yourself and the all. Realize you're the master. You're the one that's gained all these experiences. All of you beautiful souls here, you've gained lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of experience. That's why you're awake at this level. You can understand these words. So you just go out and become more awake and be the way shower. Don't get in somebody's way. Who cares? Who cares if they listen to you or not? You have your sukha. You don't need anything else. You want to get to that position where you need nothing. You have all things. Yeah, you got to put some clothes on. You got to wash the body once in a while, I guess, and feed the damn thing. But don't get caught up in it. Keep yourself free and enjoy yourself. Change your perspective from the little Homo sapien to the spiritual giant, the knower, those that have journeyed for lifetimes after lifetimes and now are ready to give forth the awareness that they have. Each of you have great awarenesses. I see it on a lot of levels. Fun stuff. But don't let anything control you or anyone control you or set in on you. If you're a watcher at the threshold of the universe, in other words, the threshold of your consciousness, you're the observer, the watcher, you will see your thoughts coming in. You will see entities trying to get in. You will see a lot more than when you're lost in chains of thought. To me, chains of thought is your prisoner, is your chains that bind you. You can be a high thinker or a low thinker. You're still a thinker. You know? It's kind of like that. Oh, he's a physicist, and he's in, I never focus on his name too much. Like to get him out of the chair. But he's the universe guy that, yeah. And there was a show on him, and of course, he's extreme intellectual. So his whole thing with the universe and how the Big Bang and the atoms and all this, there is no God. That was his conclusion. Sometimes you have to take yourself all the way down to a non-believer to become a believer. Sometimes you have to shed all that you think you know. That's part of the problem, that you think you know. You know? The mind is an incredible subtle thing. Once it gets a little idea of consciousness, it can fake it for you. You can start working on higher thoughts, but they're still thoughts. So enjoy yourselves, down here or out here, however you wish to look at it. But remember who you are and where you come from. Be the divine. All right, let's do some Q&A. It's always nice to do that, I think. A lot of times we don't open to that, but I like that. It allows me to help you individually, Sure, we do need a mic on this one. I'm not going to get up.
Dr. Morse, check the testing.
You'll get it.
Testing 1, 2. How do I determine the difference between the cow, the negative force, and God's direction in my life?
This is the point of stepping back into consciousness, into that point of observation. And when you do, you will see the energies of the two. If you realize that positive and negative are the opposite sides of the same coin, that the negative forces is here for your growth just as much as the positive forces. I'm always at battle with those, but then there's no battle. It's just the way it is for those that walk with light. They are always in. But that's the nature of it. You can't walk through the world of chemistry without it coming back on you. Both sides. So, like I said earlier, some people view the negative side as the positive side and the positive side as the negative side, Just depends which side of the fence. What does that action, what does that thought, where does it lead to? What does it do for you? Because your most negative experiences is also why you're here. It's matured you. If you keep looking at your negative experiences as negative, you're the loser. Because they're really positive in that way. They're to free you. Those that have entities, it's to develop your strength. You must become strong. This universe is serious. And it will seriously house you here for quite some time. So you just need to become strong. The stronger you are, the more godly you are. It's not a strength that you can define. It's a strength you get from becoming more self and less the victim. There's no victims. This is cause and effect. And those that are holding on to old experiences, playing the victim, you've got a ball and chain around your neck. Let it go. Become God itself. Become the light and sound itself. Become the hue. You can feel it move through you, but wouldn't you rather be it? Be the power itself. Be the rolling hue as you walk out into mankind and give them a helping hand. This planet is starving. Starving. It needs your helping hand. Okay.
When you talk about non-attached compassion, I've been trying that on the last several days and wanted to hear from you, especially in the sense of stepping back into consciousness, what tools and things that you can do in a present moment with a client in front of you. I feel myself leap out, and so would love to hear you talk about that.
It's hard not to energetically merge with the person, because as you become more conscious, that's what you do, is merge. I hug you guys, I'm merging with you. Notice? So, detached compassion keeps you free. Compassion does not. Compassion is a desire, a move to help. It is a view of seeing someone that has in harm's way or is in trouble or is whatever. In reality, everyone takes themselves down that road. In reality, detached compassion is simply the love of the divine for itself. So when you have a client, notice that that's the divine that forgot they were the divine. They are lost in their journey. They've accepted others and their opinions. And like we have so much myths on this planet and propaganda and bull crap, it's amazing. And yet you're not a part of any of this. This is just for your journey and your experience and your growth and your awakening. But also, in my opinion, and others who work in these fields, is the expansion of creation. Even though it's all in the awe, and you can't expand, watch it. It's amazing, as you guys become the creative dreamers, you can create worlds and worlds and worlds within yourself and become the conscious entity of your creation.
Can you please maybe to give a tools how to accelerate the growth and bring the light, wisdom, knowledge, like in everybody and me purposely, just how to get this stuff deeper or just what to open up just to be able to receive all this stuff? Thank you.
Start right now. Start right now by listening from the now. Mostly you do. It's like getting off an airplane. Let's say that you went to the magical land of Egypt. And there wasn't so much war. It was a magical land. You've heard so much about it, and you've never been. So the minute you get off the airplane and you open the door, you're in an extreme state of the now. You're in a state of observation. And then the mind kicks in. And the mind starts relating everything it's seeing to what it's experienced in the past. It starts categorizing. If you can keep that eternal position of awake, where you're the observer, you're the watcher, and keep working with that. You're not going to be at 24 hours a day because it's too intense. So that's okay. But the more you work with that, and the more you pull back, and the more, even when you talk to someone, you watch and observe, then you'll begin to see their auras. You'll begin to see their thoughts. I used to walk up and down the beach just to work in that position. I think I told you that. A beautiful girl walks by with a thong or something. Of course, back when I was on the beach, there wasn't too many thongs. That was kind of later on. So I wouldn't let my mind engage. I kept working on it, and I kept observing to see if I could see, because we all carry our consciousness around with us. All these states of consciousness we align with. And for those that watch, they can see. So I was working on that. And it's just, I've worked on it all my life. We all have to do that. We all have to work on, unfortunately, being the very thing we already are. But that's how slick these bodies are that you're using. It's hard to sometimes know when the mind is engaged itself. It's so subtle. Or the ego engages itself. But watch that ego. Because no one in this room, including myself, is above another.